So I thought we would set up the story by starting with how we met or
Okay.
how this came about. Because also I think there's a shout out that's well deserved to someone out there. So we met through Abdullah,
Oh,
who is the
yes.
founder of True Story Tent, by both of us attending the event.
Yes, absolutely. A
Virtually.
very nice place, a nice gathering, a nice platform
Yeah.
of people just sharing their experiences,
Mm.
whatever that may be, and somewhere along the line, you hope to, drop some golden nuggets for someone else to pick up, And sometimes you won't always resonate with the entire story, but there's that one moment where you just have that aha moment. And I like that, because people are we're so layered, and there's so much more to us than what people see.
Totally. That event was amazing.
Absolutely.
There were so many good stories.
Oh my goodness.
And I was taking names of every single person with a good story. I was like, damn it, they live in Oman. Damn it, they live in Oman. And then Zandy turned out to live in Dubai. I was like, all right, yes, that's a good story. Let's invite her.
Yeah.
Okay, so you have to set up that the event was online. Then,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Yes.
Because
The
we were
event
in
was online.
lockdown.
We're in Corona world, aren't we?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
So, Zandy, are you going to bless us with your story?
Oh, okay.
I don't,
I thought there was going to be a bit more of a build up and an opening there, but okay. I'll just jump right in.
Begin.
Where do I start? Where
Don't
do
leave
I
out the
start?
details.
Where do I start? So Zandy, so I was adopted. I think that's where we start. It's the story of an adoption.
Mm-hmm.
I was born on the 23rd of September 1978 in a hospital in Johannesburg. And it would take, I think, a good about 37 years before I actually found out the story and the events that led to me being adopted or given up or left at the hospital. I was 14 when my parents sat my brother and I down. My brother and I both adopted, and my brother had turned 21. And in South Africa, my understanding is when you turn 21 that your biological family can now search for you without requesting the permission of either the government or your parents, your adoptive parents. And I think at the advice of a family friend who was a social worker at the time, he advised my family actually just sit both my brother and I down and tell us that we are both adopted.
Mm-hmm.
And it's quite strange because I remember the day. There's not a lot in the, a lot of detail other than the fact about how I felt when the words finally just dropped out of my mother's mouth, because my father just sat there really quiet, And I later learned that he did not want us to know. And he felt that if we knew, we would look at him differently. And so my mom and the family friend who was a social worker did kind of all the talking. And I remember them saying, you guys are adopted. And I just remember the sense of relief come over me.
Relief.
Relief.
Why relief?
Because it just felt like it made sense. Because I always felt like there was something, I always felt like, not that I didn't belong, but I just always felt different and like this. Even though I loved my mom and my dad, I just had this feeling that something wasn't, just 100%.
Like how? I'm so curious.
It's so strange because when I try and explain to people, the only way that I can explain is that I just knew, and I couldn't have known because I was 7 months old, I think, when I was fostered. And about a year or so when the adoption finally went through. And to this day, neither my mom or my dad's family has ever mentioned the word adopted. So it was never spoken about, that one family, that one crazy aunt or uncle that just, let it
Blurred
slip
out.
or whatever. But I always had the sense, that it was. And I used to watch movies, like these American movies and about these adoptions. And I thought, oh my goodness, if only someone could tell me I'm adopted, It used to be so weird. And so at 14, when we had that conversation, it was just a sigh of relief. Like, it makes sense, And
Did your brother have the same feeling?
no,
It was
he
different.
was absolutely shocked.
Oh.
Okay.
It was absolute shock and just a breakdown in tears, And I cried, but when I think back of it, I didn't cry for me. I was crying for him. Do you know what I mean? Because he was like really in shock, And and then that was it. I went back to normal,
Went back to normal life.
Went back to normal. I didn't feel like I needed anything, more. I didn't have any questions, And my mom would check up on me every now and again and go, "Do you have any questions? Would you like to know?" And like, "No, fine."
I guess that's like that's the benefit of finding out a little bit younger.
Yeah.
Like your brother was probably in a different headspace.
Yeah. And my mom would always kind of check in and whatever, and I always feel when I look back in my memory, which can't really be trusted 100% of the time, but I can always see my father. There was something that changed in him, because he felt that something had changed in us, and the way we looked at him. But he could not have been further from the truth. I was able to go back to my life as if nothing had changed, because I loved my mom and my dad, and I had a really, amazing life and childhood, not without, any drama and trauma and things like that, but I was happy, And life just went back to normal. I think when I got older is when I started kind of feeling a level of shame about it. Like, I wasn't open about it as I am now. I never told my best friends about it. We lived in a community where everybody was, family, and they knew, their mom and their dad, their brothers and their sisters. So it was, I didn't ever feel like it was something I wanted to speak about, and even like now I think about it, why was there, this feeling of shame? And I can't explain it. But I just reached into 16, 17, and all of a sudden I felt the shame that I actually, didn't know, where I actually come from, And I never really expressed this to my mom and my dad, because I really just was, so happy, in my life and with my parents, And then I met my husband at 19, and, we went on to get married at 21. And all the while, when I turned 21, my mom's like, would you like to look for your mom? Would you like to pursue this? You have my blessing. And I was like, no, I'm not interested. I've always felt that this is what my life was supposed to be, and this is where I was supposed to be, and I could never shake that. No matter how I was feeling, even when I had those quiet moments where I thought about it for 5 or 10 minutes, I always came back to, this is how it was meant to be, And so that kind of gave me comfort. And I always said to my mom, no, I'm not ready. And when I had my first son is when that first feeling came that I wanted to know. And so I contacted the Register of Adoptions, and it took some time, and I received a letter, and the letter just devastated me, to read, because I knew nothing. I'd never asked my mom anything. My mom shared what I think she thought she knew about the story, what she was told, by the home that I was living in when I was a baby. And
so your mom, your mom did not meet your biological mother.
No.
Okay.
Yeah, I was in a children's home.
Okay.
And
we don't know was there the reason as to how you got there or anything?
Okay, she's getting there.
Stop
it. Look, what are you doing? I'm like,
in.
I'm in this now.
My bad.
So the first letter, so I got this letter from the Register of Adoption, And it was just, you were born on this day, you were named after your biological mother, you were left in the hospital, they have no details, they don't know where she is, and that was it. But just reading, when I say left, it's abandoned, and I was a mom, and I could not imagine having just left my child in the hospital. And I was so angry that I tore up this letter and I threw it in the bin. And I was like, that's it, I'm done. I don't care to know. I'm happy. I have my little family. I'm going to be a great mom, the cycle stops here and never have to worry about this again. And that's what I did. And then I had my second son, and then we moved to Dubai. And all the while I was going through these changes as you do through life, not consciously, but just this growing and, the self-development and self-love and all these things. And then I woke up when I was 37 and I decided I wanted to share this part of my life with my sons. But I had no information to share with them. And I was like, if they have questions, I don't have answers. And then I sat with my husband and I said to him, I think I'm ready to actually now, go the full distance. And he was like, no, go for it and whatever. And I picked up the phone and I called my biological mom and I said to her, because all through the years, she kept touching base with me. Are you ready? Are you ready? Are you ready? And I'm like, nope, not interested. And I called her and I said to her...
So you've had the number this entire time?
No, not my biological mom, my adoptive mom, sorry. So okay. I called my mom and I said, I think I'm ready. And she's like, oh, ready for what? I said, I think I'm ready to find my biological mother, or at least the information, as much information as I can. And she was like, oh my goodness, I'm so excited. I said, I will do this on one condition. You take this journey with me. And when we find her, you are there when we meet her. Because she needs to meet the woman that raised her child. My mom said, agreed.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a
and I went, and then I went back to the Register of Adoptions. I requested documents. It took a couple of months, and then I finally got this email just before Christmas. It was a massive document on my life, before, up until the point I was adopted. And I had the details and I just didn't know where to go. And I was on a Facebook page on adoptees and whatever. And I remembered one woman was on there saying that she helps people find their biological parents and things like that. I reached out to her on Messenger. Facebook Messenger.
So that's her job?
Yeah.
Okay.
Filled in the documents, paid a small fee, and just like that, she found her. Yeah. I'm freezing, so I'm going to cover myself.
Swiftly.
And found her, and then I was like, woo! I didn't expect it to,
be that fast.
be that, to go that quick. So.
What are you doing? Wait, pause. No, don't pause.
And I had the details, and
So she sent you what, like contact information?
yeah, who she was and whatever, and I sat on this information, and then I looked for her on Facebook, and I found her Facebook page. Wasn't a lot of information because it was private, so I went into Messenger and I drafted. I actually thought about, the first message. What it's got to be.
Hey.
And then, say the right words, do the right thing. And I just thought, no, this is my journey. This is my story. This is my life, and I'm going to reach out the only way I know how as me. And I drafted the message. And I will tell you, my husband is like the chilled, diplomatic one between the two of us. And I'm just like straight to the,
Straightforward.
go for it. And I remember messaging and I'm like, right, hi, My name is Zandy. You've been listed on my birth certificate. I do not want to in any way disrupt your life, neither do I want to disrupt my life. I'm married and I have children, and all I want to know is there any medical conditions that I should be aware of?
Whoa, that is a good message.
What? That's not what I expected at all. That's like harsh. Isn't it
Yeah.
strong?
You know what? What I realized when I look back is that subconsciously I had created a story in my mind about who she was.
Yes.
And I had to make the story not a nice one, because when you are confronted with the truth, I felt that it was my responsibility to protect myself. And I know how I felt the first time I received the first letter. And I was, so I'd created the story in my mind of what I thought she was, and she's going to be this, and she's going to be this, and she's going to be this, And so I decided that was the message that I wanted. I wanted to be clear that I just wanted to stick to the facts and say, I don't want to disrupt your life, because I really didn't want to, because I didn't know what her circumstances were. And a lot of the times these things are secrets to your family, And I didn't certainly want my life disrupted, because if she wasn't what I'd imagined or what I'd hoped to be, then I wanted to be able to protect my family as well, and the kids.
To keep that wall.
Yeah, to keep that wall.
Yeah.
And I showed my husband the message. I said, I think this is the message. I think this is it.
So you haven't sent it yet.
And then, so my husband read it, and he said, "Oh, babe, this cannot be the first message you send." And as he said that, I clicked send.
Oh,
It
just for dramatic effect.
When I knew it was, because he's always my voice of reason.
Yeah.
And then I knew that had to be the message, because that is me.
Yeah.
And and I sent it. And I waited, and I waited, and I waited, and I thought,
How long did you wait?
I think it was a week or two.
Oof,
3.
what a wait.
Yeah.
By the way, now the anxiousness, now the heart palpitations, because now I'm thinking, she is this idea that I had created,
For so many years.
for so many years, Oh my goodness. And
Did
then
it come out red?
And then I got the message back. And and she was just like, "Hi, yes," and she was just this nice person. When I just read the message, and I was like, "Oh, she sounds so nice."
Which doesn't play into your scene.
Which doesn't play into my scene. And I was saying to my husband, "Oh, she's nice. Now I've got to be nice." She was like, "So, Gumbaya, my lord, we are the world, little Buddha," And we started messaging back and forth. And I said, "Oh, can we take this offline and email?" And we emailed each other, and we just started, getting to know each other. And I had all these questions, and she was like, whatever questions you have, I would like to answer, and, things like that. And we started, just staying in touch and communicating, and she was asking about my life and all these things. And I then arranged, when we'd been communicating for a couple of months, I'd arranged to fly to South Africa to meet her when we felt comfortable enough.
And then this time you're in Dubai?
I'm in Dubai, yeah. Mm-hmm. And so strange, because my entire life she's lived about an hour and a half away from me. An hour when I was living with my parents, an hour and a half, and then about 60 minutes when I got married. Wow. And I had to fly 8 hours to meet her.
Oh.
So called my mom, and said like, whatever, we're gonna have to meet her. So we flew. I flew to Johannesburg and picked up my mom. We booked into a hotel. We decided to make it like a ladies' weekend and things like that. And we went and we met her together, and it was really. Even now, I was always thinking, I should have captured, that moment. I should have recorded that moment. But it was just, I think, even now the relationship is so private for me, you know, and I wanted that moment to be private. And it was really such a beautiful moment, you know. It was really like something out of the movies.
So what was the location? Where were you?
So
in the town?
we met at a coffee shop, a breakfast coffee shop, and close to where she lives, and my mom and I rocked up, and I remember my mom saying, "Take flowers." And I was like, "Take flowers," you know, but I did, and we just met, and we just locked eyes, and she just embraced me, you know. And I think I can't even tell you, it was like time stood still. We just stood there like embracing each other, crying, you know. And my mom was standing there all emotional. And then when we finally, you know, looked up and whatever, we pulled my mom in, and, you know, we were just all hugging and things like that. And it was really such a nice moment. And I introduced her to my mom, and it was so easy. It was so comfortable, you know. And we had coffee and we spoke, and I remember her giving me, she took out a little pouch, and in it was a gold pendant, and it was so interesting because I think a couple of months or almost a year before that, I changed my cover photo on Facebook to a phoenix rising out of the ashes, because it was just a symbolism of, you know, where I was in my life. And when she handed me this pendant, it had some Asian writing. It was a gold pendant with Asian writing on the front because she's Taiwanese. And when I turned the pendant, it had a phoenix on it. And it was like, yeah, you know, it was really, it was really nice. And then I met my mama, and then I went from having one mother to having two moms. 3 with my mother-in-law.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah.